Write each of the mixed numbers below as a fraction greater than 1 and write each of the fractions greater than 1 as a mixed number. Include a diagram to explain each answer. So according to the directions, if we have a mixed number, we're going to change it into a fraction greater than 1. And if we do have a fraction greater than 1, then you change it to a mixed number. We also need to do a diagram. So when we talk about mixed number, we have a whole number such as like 2, and then we have a part. They're stuck together. So 2 and 1/5. There's the whole number, there's the part. When we have a fraction greater than 1 is we're converting this fraction into a fraction that usually have a denominator larger than 1. So that's what they mean by, I'm sorry, the numerator is greater than 1 and the denominator is whatever the divisor is. So this will be a number way bigger than that, 5. So let's do one of each kind together, and remember they want us to use a diagram. So if I do example A, you could do example C because they're similar. So let's start with that, and then I'll probably do like D. So I'm going to do A and D in this video, so you can pause and do the other ones on your own. So 4 and 1/3 as a diagram, I have 4 whole numbers, and then on a part as a meaning it's 4 plus 1/3, and then the 4 is a whole number. So I can write it as 4 over 1 plus 1 over 3. And let's do the diagram. Now because I want to combine them, I'm looking at my part are divided into 3s. So when I draw a whole number, I want to divide them into 3 pieces. So this bar is going to represent my one whole, and I divide it into 3 pieces. And I need to draw 4 of them. I could draw them next to each other or separate. Actually, separate is not going to confuse me. So one whole, and then 2, 3, 4. So to make them a whole, we need to shade all of them. So that's 4 of them. And then I need 1 for the part. So 4 whole. So let's shade them all. And whatever color you want. If you don't have color pencil, then you just shade them with your pencil. So 4 whole numbers. And then we need to do 1/3 as a part. So we have to say plus 1/3. So the whole needs to be the same size as the other ones. We divided into 3 parts like we did the other, and that was the reason. That was the reason that we divided into 3 parts, the other ones too. And now we only need to shade one of them. So when I shade, let's see, 1 of 3. So if I look at the picture, I have how many parts do I have? So this is 1/3. So how many of this do we have? Thirds. So here we have 3/3. Here we also have 3/3 because 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? So we can count how many of those we have. Pause the video and count how many 1/3s we have all together. So I counted 12 over here, and then 1 more over here. So all together we have 13/3. So according to the picture, we have 13/3 as a final answer. So from 4 and 1/3 as a picture, it's equivalent to 13/3. Now, if you were gonna do the work, so let's go back to the work, we want to have a common denominator. So 4 over 1, we want to divide it into thirds. So in this case, we're multiplying by 3, top and bottom, or we're multiplying by the giant 1. So we have 12 over 3. So you can see that 12 parts, and then plus 1/3. So altogether that's the 13/3. But remember the direction said diagram, so that's why you want to do the diagram the way I did it for A. You could do your diagram for letter C. In this case, for letter C, it's 3 plus 1/2. So when you're drawing your whole numbers, they need to be divided into 2 parts. So divide them and do the same thing. So I'm going to do letter D, which will be similar to letter B, so you could do B on your own, so have some room for that. So right now we're given 15/8, which is 1 fraction, and we want to change it from fraction to mixed number. Now looking at the denominator again, when we draw whole numbers, they need to divide by 8 equal pieces. So let's get started. So once we have, so we're not going to shade yet, we're just going to divide the whole into 8 equal squares, parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that will represent one whole. And then I need to make sure I can shade 15 of them. But right now I can only shade 8 of them, right? So I need to draw more. So right now this is 8 eighths. So if I shade, I need 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. 8 of them. Drawing. So I need another whole. Let's see. So when I'm shading 8, and here will be the 9th one, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I was counting parts. So I have 15 parts, and that's given to me in the numerator, 15 parts. So you could 2, 3, and on, right? But these are 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, and so on. So all together have 15/8. So right now I have enough. So now I need to say, well, how many whole numbers do we have? So from the first picture, I only have one whole, and barely I was able to do 2 wholes, but we don't. So we're gonna write it as what we see. We have a 1 whole number plus, and then how many 8s do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're gonna write 7 8s. So we have now 1 plus 7 8, which becomes 1 and 7 8. So you're saying the word and, but you're writing it together. So that's how we did it visually. Now, if you did not do visually, you have to represent it as a meaning of that fraction bar. So it's 15 divided by 8. So that red bar really means that division. So when you go and you say, well, how many times 8 goes into 15? So if you do the long division, that will show you it's only 1 time. So let's kind of do it over here on the side. So we have 15 divided by 8. 15 stops over here, the whole number. And that's what we want to stop. So it goes 1 time. So 1 times 8 is 8. And those are the 8 8s on top that we got for the 1 whole. So that's remainder is 7. So when you get the remainder, we could see it right here, those 7 pieces, right? So 1 8, 2 8, 3 8, all the way to 7 8. So that's how we're gonna write it. So from here is 1 whole plus 7 parts, but there's 7 8s. And together again becomes 1 and 7 8. So that's the complete work for letter D, picture and logical. So you need to go back to letter B and do it on your own.